All right, what is up, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. Of course, the big story here, the Athletic breaking the big, unsettled charter negotiations or whatever you want to call it. Jeff Gluck and Gordon Bianchi on that story. Of course, that is over the charters, and that has pretty much been the main story all day here today. Another thing that's sort of been floating around since Erik Jones, I guess, that we really haven't gotten into. I want to say, is the safety of the next gen car, is it any more or less safe? Now, of course, obviously in 2022, Chase Elliott made the comments that the car was, a step backwards in safety. Since then, they have softened the front end. They put added crumple zones, I should say, to the front and rear. Has that positively affected the car? Yes or no? Right now, we have a poll question up asking that. And once again, I want to say Chase Elliott said that in 2022 before they made the modifications here. But is the next gen a step back in safety? 68% say yes, 32% say no right now. That is the poll question. We'll keep that running throughout the deal. But yeah, a few, let's see, I guess one thing I said, Brad Keselowski's got the Castrol Toyota Supra. I think I said Nissan Supra in the video. A couple people cracked me as far as that one goes. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, it is a Toyota Supra. The 48 car, he's going to run a Jimmy Johnson throwback. So that is that was sort of the other two stories floating around here today. But this is Tuesday, so we talk about what you guys want to talk about on Tuesdays. So let's jump into what you guys want to talk about, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have some interesting stuff there. And we'll start with Aaron Flynn. What's up, Aaron? It's going to rain around 11, says Aaron. COT was supposed to be safe too until Ryan Newman did a backflip, says Duke Chronic. So yeah, that's a good point. I need to put side by side exactly how many significant injuries each car has had since their inception. And that doesn't necessarily really prove anything other, because, Earnhardt passed away in a safety-related accident. But before that, but they had that real run right there toward the end of that car where several people were passing away within a few years of each other, I want to say. But before that, you could have said that car was pretty safe. But it could it also be because they were lucky? But I would like to see some numbers side by side. How many drivers have had injuries and stuff like that with the this car versus the Gen 6 versus the Gen 5, so on and so forth. I would like to see a comprehensive study done on that before I say that this car is less safe. But it doesn't seem it hasn't gotten a good rap since it came out. Obviously, Kurt Busch being the big one, it ended his career probably earlier than he wanted to end it. We don't know if he would have gone past that year, but we certainly know he would have at least finished that year out. So we can say it definitely has shortened one driver's career. And then last year there was a string of drivers. Noah Gragson, I think, missed some time because of a crash. Off the top of my head, I want to say. And NFJJ just did a video on this. If you want to check out his video, he just did a video on the safety of this car, where he delves into the topic much deeper. But I think there definitely can be some things. And obviously, when Ryan Newman flipped, that's when they got rid of the wing on the back of the car, because they realized that when the wings turn backwards, it creates lift instead of downforce. That's just what wings do. So that's what got rid of the wing. So all kinds of stuff on that one had to be fixed. And then after they figured that out, there were still some other wrecks that they had to figure things out. They even created the Newman bar or whatever, I think, after that particular wreck, if I'm not mistaken. It would depend on what year that wreck happened. So it just depends comprehensively what's happened with the cars. I would need to see the data on that. But this new car is not off to a great start with some of the injuries that drivers have sustained in it. We know that Tyler Reddick, he didn't feel great after one of his runs for RCR when he was driving in the 8 car. I can't remember exactly what that is, but some of the safety of this new car is just new car stuff, like when they were catching on fire and things like that. Even though they just caught on fire, Ryan Preece has caught on fire this weekend at Dover as well. So there's some other stuff like that, which is just new car stuff, which plays into the safety. You don't really think about that. So I think I saw somebody say it on Twitter. We've gotten way too comfortable with fire in the sport, but fire is always a safety thing you need to worry about. And like he was saying there, we've gotten way too comfortable with fire. we don't even think about the fires anymore and the chemicals that could be getting released in those fires and the long-term safety and health on the drivers. So a lot of things with this new car that need to be looked at, but I don't know if you can say with any certainty whether this car is more or less safe, but you can say for sure it's off to an inauspicious start, to say the least. 43 car looked good, says in between the lanes. Talk about the paint job on it. It did look good, Dover for sure. It'd be good to see Jones back in it was the STP car for those that don't remember. It'd be good to see Jones back in the car at Darlington, but he shouldn't rush back if he's not ready. So yeah, that's another story. Jones said he should be ready. He said Darlington at the latest in that. So he's very optimistic he'll get back actually before Darlington. But yeah, Darlington, a really good track for him, even in a down year for Legacy last year in the 43 Petty number that he drives. Even in a down year for him last year, he put on a show. I think he finished fourth or fifth, third, somewhere in there in that range at Darlington in a down year for him. So I think that a lot of people's hopes are up high for him at Darlington. Senior's birthday yesterday, 29th, for sure. And 3 days after Senior's birthday is Rowdy Bush, Kyle Busch, his birthday in a few days as well. Mikey's birthday today. So Michael Waltrip's birthday is today. So a group of NASCAR guys all have their birthdays jumbled together there, or bunched together, I should say. Napa Racing Fan, 3 sidelining injuries in 3 years for this car isn't good. Bush at Pocono, Bowman concussion. I was thinking Alex Bowman had a concussion in this car, but I couldn't remember if it was this car or another car. But you're right. So Alex Bowman was another one with a concussion in this car. Let's see. Bush at Pocono, Bowman concussion at Texas, Jones at Talladega. So there you go. A bunch of them so far. And like I said, that's not even to mention the fires and some of the other stuff that we kind of actually overlook because they're not necessarily a severe short term, but they could be long term. It could be stuff like that. I know Rick Mast had to retire because of inhalation fumes and stuff like that. Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, along with, I believe, Justin Haley, exiting the track. Along with pit crews, saw fans gathered around gate 1 to see pit crews and drivers exit the track. So that's cool. You've got sort of that's how Martinsville used to be. Martinsville's still like that if you wait long enough, even though they don't have the gate, they've got the tunnel. So they all still have to come out the tunnel. But yeah, it's always cool when there's a spot at a racetrack that if you stand there long enough, you can see some of your favorite drivers exiting the track. So that is always, or entering the track, depending on how early you get there. That is always a cool deal. I can't say that it's I can't say that it's safer, honestly. Seems to cater to the car versus the person. It's protecting the wrong investment. That's a good analysis. I like that a lot. NASCAR, with the greatest of intentions, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, though. But with the greatest of intentions, NASCAR was trying to save the team's money. I'm not going to get into the philosophy of whenever a organization tries to save teams' money, it typically ends up costing more, in my opinion. In my short time on this earth, or a long time on this earth, compared to some of the viewers, I guess I should say, in my medium time on this earth, whenever somebody tries to save money, it usually ends up costing you a lot more money than you ended up saving. So I think even with the greatest of intentions and their heart being in the right place, their brain wasn't in the right place, because you still got to think driver safety first. You got to think driver safety first in those situations. It doesn't matter how much it costs. If you're familiar with backpacking and camping and stuff like that, there's a rule of thumb when you're packing your camping gear. If you have something as an improvised piece of safety equipment, that is something you can improvise as a piece of safety equipment, like an extra shoestring that you could use as a tourniquet, always just pack a tourniquet instead of using the thing that you could use as an extra piece of safety gear. So that's the rule of thumb. I wish NASCAR would go by that same philosophy of having safety being the foremost thing, then the cost of the sport, so on, so forth, yada, yada, yada. But in my opinion, NASCAR's biggest concern is how much profit they can turn, how cheap they can make the cars so that it's not as expensive for the owners, then safety third. The famous t-shirt, safety third, right? So what's with the Ford rocker boxes? Says Napa Racing Fan. I don't know. I remember Kevin Harvick had an issue with it, and this weekend Ryan Preece, he had his issue with it. So I don't know if it's something, but it's a different body now, so you can't even say it's the old car and the new car. I don't know. Ford has many concerns. Are they going to have to do a redesign like Chevrolet did with their original Camaro when they first brought the Camaro to the Cup Series? Is Ford going to have to sit down and do a redesign? Because I don't think it's working out. I think they overlooked something in the design of that car whether it be the fenders, which are way more pronounced than any other manufacturer's fenders, or what it is, but it's something that car just doesn't like. Unless your name's Ryan Blaney or Noah Gregson, they seem, when Noah Gregson doesn't wreck, they seem to like this car. They're sort of in that Chase Elliott realm. That year that Chevrolet was off in 2018, and Chase Elliott was the only one that consistently seemed to be able to do something with that car. Next gen is a complete failure, says Bo Darble. I think a lot of people feel like that. I think that's certainly a fair statement that represents a good cross section of the fans. I think a lot of people do feel like that. I think time will tell. Like, I don't want to say it's a complete failure, but I will say it's off to not the greatest start of all time. I think that is a fair thing to say. 1,400 horsepower says it's not a move backwards. Jones' hit was so bad, I'm surprised he wasn't more hurt. Hitting the wall at over 180 miles per hour is bad. Imagine if there was no softball. So, yeah, that is the other side of it. And even Erik Jones himself has come out and said these cars get a bad rap. He was basically defending the car when he got out of it. So he's himself, the guy that got in the most recent wreck, seems to have taken the opposite of the popular stance that this car seems to be not safe. I do think the car is too rigid and it gives too much feedback to the drivers. That being said, what you do about it at this point to fix it, I don't know, as opposed to a total redesign. And I know they're not going to do that, but I don't know. Just take this car and learn from it what you can until they get on to the next generation of whatever they're going to do. But like I said, I can't say one way or the other that the car is more or less safe than any other car. At the end of the day, it's racing and there's going to be risk involved no matter what. But I can't say for sure that this car is any safer or more or less safe than the other cars. But it's definitely off to, at least in the perception of most fans, it's off to a bad start. Seems like for years, racing and auto manufacturers have promoted crumple zones in cars. This car is too rigid, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, for sure, especially the first version of it. Now, they have added crumple zones to it now. And that is actually, to me, one of the strengths. They should have had crumple zones in it the whole time because you can bolt the front and rear onto this car. So it made no sense for them not to have crumple zones the whole time, because that should be basically, you should have a bunch of those pieces at your shop anyway, at your house, in your front yard collecting rust, at your house anyway, or at your shop anyway. Because that to me, that's one of the strengths that could be said about this new car. If you mess up a clip, just bolt another one on, because the front and rear clips are bolt on. So that's actually could be a strength. They could redesign this car several times as long as they get the center section right. So they could make the front and rear less rigid, and the middle could be more rigid, and maybe they figure out something that way. So like I said, and the other thing, that particular setup that we just got away from, we've had that set up for 60 or 70 years in various forms and configurations. So they had a lot more, there was a lot more finessing to that one. So the longer, if they keep this one, the longer they keep this one, you'll see the safety be finessed and stuff like that as well. Saw Bowman's Jimmy Johnson throwback along with the Larson Terry Labonte throwback. Yeah, Hendrick doing a pretty good job on the throwbacks. Christopher Bell getting the short end of the stick with the DeWalt throwback. That thing is not the greatest. Junior Motorsports released the number 8 throwback. Or is it the 9 car? Anyway, they're throwing back to the 88 Hellman's car from 2018 for Junior. So that's going to be the Junior Motorsports throwback in the Xfinity Series. I did see that one. How's it going, y'all? NASCAR needs to improve safety on the next gen big time, says Douglas Serrano. And yeah, I'd like to point out that the safer walls too, there might be something you can do with the safer walls now that these cars are stiffer too. Maybe re-look at designing the safer walls. Maybe, and it wouldn't be a huge redesign, just how stiff or how soft the foam on the backside needs to be with a stiffer car. Maybe take a look at doing that. Bowman got concussed in the car, and the car was not out, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, that was definitely not a great thing. I think since the Bowman one, is that before or after they added the crumple zones? I can't remember. It was right there at the cutoff line, I want to say. Someone yelled Kyle Busch, so that's how I saw Kyle Busch exit the track. Says in between the lanes. On a good note, how about Larson's Terry Labonte throwback? One of my favorites since the throwback weekend started. It's definitely a really popular one. It's one, I appreciate you there, Mike Haywood. It's one of the more popular ones that's ever been released. It's one that people have asked for a long time. I can't think of another one. Maybe the Davey Allison. A lot of people want to see a Davey Allison one. People have been screaming in the Cup Series. The bubblegum numbered one, of course, is what I'm talking about. I know people clamored for that for a long time. To my knowledge, I can't remember if they've run one. Another one of my favorite ones right here is this Alex Bowman one right above my thumb right here, where he threw it back to Tim Richmond. So that was a good one too. And then of course, all the Flame Jeff Gordon ones and the Rainbow Jeff Gordon ones have been good. They're going to do another what it looks like from the pixelated view. Looks like it's going to be another Flame Jeff Gordon one for the throwback, maybe a 09, 010, or somewhere in there. What's up, BB and crew? Denny sucks, LOL, says T-Van. Hi, what up, BB? I was at the race. Sorry, I couldn't watch the stream on Sunday. It's all good, Chrome Diesel. Whenever you can go to a race, go to the race. Don't worry about the stream at all. Always pick the race over the stream because it's just more fun to be at the racetrack all the time. Some on YouTube made a scene from The Sandlot where Denny Hamlin calls a shot saying he will wind over, and he swung for the fences. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that he did that. But at the same time, there are so many people that just don't like Denny Hamlin that there's always going to be like some negative, like they're going to find some negative way to spin that. So I don't know. He finds ways to trigger people, and it's just hilarious. To me, it's hilarious because it's good for content. It's funny. I like a good troll, and he is definitely a really good troll. He likes to troll people. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, he called his shot. So a lot of people are not happy about that. They're salty, and they're trying to find ways to discredit that or whatever, saying that he just aero blocked, he didn't really win the race or blah, 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 whatever. And to my response to that is every driver on a 1.5 miles or larger, or any track that carries any type of speed, I know Dover's only a mile, has aero blocked at some point to get the win. It's part of the game. Now they do need to figure out a way to possibly get rid of the aero push, the aero block, whatever you want to call it. Or at least lessen its impact. How they do that, there's several ways you could go about doing that. I'm not going to list every. We would be here literally for hours listing every way you could get rid of it. There's ways to get rid of it. They could get rid of it if they really put their minds to it. Is it a significant thing on their radar? Is my question. Because if you look, here's why I say they could easily get rid of it. If you look at the body on the Xfinity Series car, it doesn't seem to have as big an effect with the aero push as the Cup Series car does. So how about we just start with their package, their aerodynamics package at the very least. At the very least, start with their aerodynamics package, and then say, okay, how come these cars don't push like the other ones? Whether it be skew, whether it be the size and height of the nose, whatever it is, I would start there. Miles the Monster had a nice meal of NASCARs this weekend. For sure, Dover needs to move back to June. Northeast. A race Northeast in April doesn't work, says Napa Racing Fan. They do tend to have weather from time to time. The 43 was measured at 70 G's impact. The Hans saved him for sure. The Hans device is one of the greatest safety inventions that's come to racing in a very, very long time. I don't know if you can see mine back there. If you look right over Tiny Larson's head, that's my Hans device right there. Right behind Mini Larson and then Big Larson. So there you go. Hans device out there saving lives. Bell's scheme is ugly, says T-Van. Yeah, he got the short end of the stick for Darlington for sure. Who do you think will be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame class? I have no idea. I hear a lot of people clamoring for Ricky Rudd and Harry Gant. So hopefully they get in. I'm clamoring for Harry Hyde. Harry Hyde needs to be in that Joker, 100% for sure. Cassandra, what's up? Saying, hey, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? What is up, North Idaho? Larson's Labonte scheme is one of the best throwbacks ever. Nailed it, says Bo Darville. Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Like I said, people have been waiting for that one for a long time. I mean, probably the only other ones I can think of, maybe the Days of Thunder throwbacks. A lot of people are always excited and want those, like literally every year they want a Days of Thunder throwback. William Byron's Days of Thunder throwback. Good luck finding the 124th for a reasonable price on eBay now. Those things sold out quick. Mellow Yellow, when Kyle Larson ran the Mellow Yellow scheme and he put on the wig and the mustache, you can't find that car because A, it was a Coca-Cola car, so you can only find a custom version of it. But also what I want to see from Larson is he went all out for that one. He grew the mustache. He wore the wig. He needs to grow the mustache for the Kellogg's car. I want to see the Terry Labonte mustache at Darlington for the Kellogg's car. It's the only way to properly do it. Go all up. Get into it there, Larson. Let's see the mustache for I think Josh Berry's run it. Carson Voppel may have run the gold one too. So always a popular scheme in the cars tour and late models, I want to say. Hey, Idaho, says Duke Chronic. Bill has 5 finishes of 30th or worse in the first 11 races. Yikes, 11th or 17 points. He has a win. but top 10 in points, adds playoff points. Says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, so right now he is out of the playoffs, except he's in the playoffs. Like he's out of the points playoff wise, but he's in, so he's going to bump down two people. I want to say, nope, I've got it right here in front of me. I can actually tell you exactly who is going to get bumped out. Right now, Bubba Wallace and Brad Keselowski would be bumped out for Christopher Bell and Daniel Suarez, who are 17th and 18th in points. So they've won races, but they're not up there in points. So that would bump out two people. So like I said, the points are actually getting really interesting as well. I appreciate the Bowman scheme, but not original. It's been done. Says T-Van. Yeah, they've done something similar in the past, but it's always good when you throw it back to Jimmy Johnson, who ironically is still part-time active. It's weird. How many? I don't think he's the only one, but are there any drivers that have been thrown back to not when they're retiring, because everybody has their own retirement schemes and stuff like that. But has there been another driver that's actually like running races actively still that they've thrown back to? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I might be wrong though, unless it was like I was saying, unless it's their retirement year. It's weird to see Jeff Gordon's rainbow car and it not be Jeff Gordon, says Duke Chronic. For sure. It's strange for a lot of people just to see the 24 car and period and it not be Jeff Gordon. They just grew up Jeff Gordon. For a lot of people, that's who got them into the sport, much like Dale Sr. is what got a lot of people a little bit older than that into the sport, and so on and so forth. Go back further and further. Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, stuff like that. Junior called it today. Denny is a master troll, says Duke Chronic. That's what I'm saying. Like Denny Hamlin is an absolute master troll. Which is what makes it sad when he actually gets serious and actually gets mad. Because if you're going to troll, you can't show that you're actually mad in person on purpose, because the point of trolling is that you're never bothered, and the reason you can say those things is that you're never bothered. It's always just a little bit of joking and stuff like that. So when he gets mad in real life, it's kind of disappointing, because I just look at him as a master troll. So when you actually get up underneath his skin, that's what's alarming, I guess I should say. Not alarming. I can't find the right word for it, but you know what I mean. Did you see? It's like when a comedian gets serious. You really don't want to see that. It ruins the act. Did you see the mannequin fall on the track at Barber City for IndyCar? I saw the. I didn't see it live, but I saw the picture afterwards with Scotty McLaughlin. He's like, I had to meet her, and he's sitting there with the mannequin holding her hand, and they took a picture in one of the infield centers or whatever, I'm assuming. So that was really cool. There is the merch link right there. One Wise Guy has dropped it. And also, if you want to join the Discord, there is the link for the Discord. The Daily Downforce also has a Discord server as well, so you might want to seek out one of those. One day I will figure out how to drop those Discord links as well. I heard about the mannequin fall of the IndyCar race from watching Breakard's video. Yeah, Breakard, he's positioning himself to be sort of the new Dave Despain, where he all he's missing, I think, is Two Wheel Tuesday. I'm not sure if he does anything with motorcycles, but if we could get Breakard to do something with motorcycles. He's already got Open Wheel Wednesday, right? And then he covers the NASCAR stuff. And I think I've seen him do some IMSA stuff before, if I'm not mistaken. So he's him and David Land are, if they're sort of setting themselves up to be the next Dave Despain. I could see those two sort of taking that role for the YouTube generation, whereas my generation, we had the Speed Channel and Dave Despain's Wind Tunnel. Dave Despain's the freaking man, dude. No doubt about it. I'm at a point now. Just bring the Xfinity car to Cup, says Chrome Diesel. I think a lot of people are, but I just don't see they'll do it. One Wise Guy, I stopped watching baseball back in the 90s because of that strike, and I was a huge baseball fan, says T-Van. So yeah, baseball was the #1 sport, and they went on strike, and they have never recovered. The other thing you can point to is IndyCar and CART. IndyCar and CART has never recovered from their split and stuff like that. So hopefully NASCAR wakes up and gets some type of deal done, and we don't go into any type of labor strife situation. They need to get it done. When is the next race you're going to, says Mikey? Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I know I'm going to Martinsville for sure. I'm aiming for the fall Darlington race. Dover's on my brain. I'm aiming for the fall Darlington race, but I can't make any promises on that. But those are the only two on the radar. Martinsville probably for sure. So I don't know. Dale Jr. Hates concrete. What is so bad about a concrete surface? The way it bounces and stuff like that. He doesn't like it. And probably with this new car, they probably hate the joints in the concrete cause the bouncing. That's probably what he dislikes about it. So I would have to say that. And this new car being so rigid, and they're probably getting aggressive with the bump stops and stuff. It probably bounces. Even Kevin Harvick said, anytime you run over a bump or anything like that, it sends it right into your back. So that's probably what he dislikes about probably what all the drivers dislike, I guess, about Dover and the concrete. Guns N' Roses, talk about the Guns N' Roses shirt here for T-Van. Appreciate you there, T-Van. Bowman's, I guess, do the Guns N' Roses thing there, a rock and roll thing. Bowman's throwback is great, but Larson's is fire. Says Napa Racing fan, talking about the cornflakes car. Get rid of the rear view camera, like Larson said. These guys are pros, right? Yeah, I mean, at least for tracks where the aero blocking is more significant than other tracks, I think that could be something that you do take a look at. He says it's just too easy to block with the camera. The problem is that the air under the car makes all the downforce. It can't be fixed with all the crap underneath, says Bo Darville. Not only that, but the way they've got the car designed now, without that underbody thing underneath of it, you can't tie the rest of the body to the race car. I forget who was telling me that, but oh man, I can't think of his name. Brian, that works at SHR. Or he used to work at SHR. I don't know where he works now. I think he works at RFK now. I can't call his last name, but he was talking about it on Twitter. So he would know. Next, I'm back with RCR is finally doing a throwback, and seeing Austin Dillon do Dale's Gold Bass Pro scheme is awesome. I've been wanting to see that for years, says Timbo. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad they're finally doing it and bringing it back. Like I said, Dale Jr.'s done it in the Cars Tour and in late models, but I would say the vast majority of fans don't necessarily, they might have seen that car, but they don't necessarily, not as many NASCAR fans watch the Cars Tour, I don't think. Although I haven't seen the numbers, but you never know. But it will be good for NASCAR fans to see that car back in a Cup Series race again. So that'll be a good thing, and hopefully he can bring home a nice solid finish, race his way into the big one. If he doesn't have a win or something by then, because it would be cool to see it in the All-Star race proper itself again. Can we get a throwback Mohawk for Darlington? Can you still grow? Dude, I can. My hair is still here, my man. Like the hair is not going anywhere yet. Can we get a throwback Mohawk for Darlington? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm kind of old to be rocking a Mohawk. That being said, Chuck Liddell still got one. So who am I to say? Can you still grow it back? I can't do it. It says T-Van. So T-Van can't do it. I'm still good. Knock on wood with that particular situation. So I don't know. I'll think about it. Gosh, I don't know, man. The Mohawk, I don't know. That's a little risky, but we'll think about it. My wish for the NASCAR owners deal, no charters. You know what? I'm going to end this poll because 79% are saying yes. I'm going to start another poll. There you go. There is the new poll question. Do you want a Mohawk or a mullet, or no, you're too old, don't cut it? By Darlington, by the Darlington race. So 100% is going mullet right now. That is the new poll question. Let me jump back up here and see if I can find where I left off. Bruce Garvey. What's up, Bruce? My wish for new NASCAR owners deal, no charters, and 40 to 45% of TV money to the owners. Yeah, I don't even think the money is what's holding it up at this point. I just think it's a charter. It's the charter agreement, in my opinion. Yeah, I think they've got the money where they want it as far as the TV deal goes. 46% says no, you're too old, don't cut it. So it's going to be a fierce battle. The poll question is up. mullet, mohawk, or no, don't cut it are the options. Not sure if this was mentioned on a recent live stream, but Team Penske's IndyCar was stripped of Newgarden's win. Roger Penske, I think he does have a lot of integrity in himself and in his teams. And to me, Roger Penske, he's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. You're always going to be able to find stories of him not being perfect. But I think for the most part, he's been good to his employees. He seems to have a lot of people that never want to leave Penske. So to me, that's a good sign that he's fair in his business practices. And I've never really seen him be in any type of controversy like that. So I'm not surprised that he has the gumption to do what he did to penalize himself, even if it was way late after the fact. And I think they did the right thing. The only criticism I have of it is it took way too long for them to figure out something happened there. So that's a mild criticism. They did the right thing no matter how long it takes. Gordon driving Jr.'s car for a throwback at Darlington was better than that last year, says T-Van. BD, how is Zane Smith doing on Earth 2 so far? So far, Earth 2, Zane Smith, he's not only going to be Rookie of the Year on Earth 2. I forgot what was the piece of debris what was that controversy in the Xfinity series when Danica ran over something or somebody threw something out? Was that a shoe? Was that somebody's shoe or something like that? I can't remember that one. BB, what's annoying you the most about the Cup Series this year? The point system, OJ and Toothpaste. It will always and forever be the point system. And before everybody's like, we need a playoff system. It makes it more entertaining. I'm not saying you can't have a playoff system. I'm just saying the current playoff system is trash. It's absolute ass from the bottom up. One race should not decide the champion. If you want to have a playoff, give me at least 3 or 4 races at the end of the season. Really, if Jimmy Johnson hadn't have just come into his own and Chad Canals hadn't come into his own when they first started the first playoff system, I don't think that was necessarily the worst playoff system. They called it the chase back then. I don't think the chase was necessarily the worst thing that was ever invented. It's just the fact that Jimmy Johnson won it 6 times in a row and everybody was like, yeah, bump this. We're tired of seeing Jimmy Johnson. That's literally what killed the chase. Like, Jimmy Johnson was too damn good at that particular point in time. So what bothers me the most about the point system, I'm an old dude, right? So, I mean, like, I want full long season points. Like, I think that crowns a proper champion. But I think the second best version of that, if you want to have a chase or a playoffs, would be the playoff system. Now, you can configure the points for the playoffs or the chase a little bit differently than that. But I do think to decide a champion is fair. You got to qualify for those 10 races, and then you've got 10 races to decide who the champion is. 10 races is enough to sort it out. Now, the people that want cutoffs and stuff like that, like you can configure another form for that, but I still want to see if you do cutoffs and stuff like that, I do still want to see 3 to 4 races to decide the actual champion, because one race at one track should never decide the champion. So that's my 10 cents on that. Good question, OJ and Toothpaste. Zane Smith is second behind Cody Ware on Earth 2. Well, Cody Ware hasn't run all the races, so we can't just honorarily give Cody Ware the championship every single year on Earth 2. So Zane Smith, of the people that have run all the races, is last. And even though he's only run 9 races, Kaz Gralla has given him a run for his money there in second to last. B, if Martin Truex Jr. Didn't get spoiler damage from Bowman on the restart, or 10 races out of 11, I should say, do you think he has a chance to get this first win of the season? I do think the spoiler did slow him down quite a bit. It cost him his best chance of winning for sure, but it shows you how UPS, United States Postal Service, or FedEx, it's going to depend on your region. From what I've seen, and you forgot about Lasership there, but from what I've seen of those options around where I'm at, FedEx gets it there, but then for whatever reason, even if people tell them you don't have to sign for the package, they always stick a note on my door. They never knock, they never ring the doorbell. They just slap a note on my door, probably never even bring the package out of the car or truck, and then they just drive off. And I was there, I was ready, I knew it was coming that day. I knew FedEx was delivering it. I know how they are. I even left the door open sometimes and just had the screen door open. And they still just leave the note on the screen door, and you've got to wait the next day, or you've got to go down to the FedEx. So I would say FedEx is the slowest, because even when, sometimes it's 2 days later when they come back. So they're the slowest / more irritating of the services, at least around here. I agree. And if you're a Denny Hamlin fan, I'm sorry. I'm not taking a shot at Denny Hamlin. I'm just telling you the FedEx around here is aggravating. Now, I've heard some people in other regions talk about UPS doing the same thing. So it depends on your region. They'll talk about UPS doing the exact same things that FedEx do. So it just does do here. I think it just depends on where you're at and who your service provider is or whatever that they send it, or your shipping provider they send it with. I agree with getting rid of the air underneath the car and the rear view camera, says Dan. Yeah, but that's going to be a big fix because that's one of the more expensive pieces, and I think Delara makes that, or Lola, I can't remember. Somebody makes that. One of the chassis manufacturers makes that. What were your biggest takeaways from Sunday? I didn't really have any big takeaways from Sunday. It pretty much raced like I expect Dover to race. The car raced like I expect it to race. I mean, when you have high speed, you know the aero blocking's coming. So I pretty much the exact race I thought we were going to get. We had comers and goers, and I knew there would be somebody. It's kind of like Darlington. You know, at the end, there's always going to be somebody fading that's probably in the lead and somebody charging that's behind them. And the big guess is going to be, can the person behind them, do they have enough laps to get by him? In this case, Kyle Larson didn't have enough laps to figure out how to get by Denny Hamlin. So Denny Hamlin won, but it pretty much played out the exact same way that I figured. I really like the video post of yours today, says Jamie Schweitzer. I appreciate it. I put a lot of effort into it. I did have one fumble in there. I think I called the Supra a Nissan Supra, so I don't know why I called it that. So I did misspeak. It is a Toyota Supra, so I don't know why I said that, but like a lot of people busted my chops for that one. I did take that. I tried to take that 2 seconds out, so hopefully that 2 seconds is out now. But yeah, other than that, a pretty clean video, and I appreciate all you guys that watched it. Let's see, NASCAR is playing a dangerous game with people like Junior and Harvick running a series. They're getting closer to figuring out their own thing. Hendrick Gibbs, all the team owners have a breaking point. Not only Junior and Harvick, but don't forget that Trackhouse, Justin Marks is involved in that deal too. Often the one that people don't talk about. Hopefully the Knicks win tonight, says in between the lanes. I'm pulling for them. I'm pulling for them because DraftKings, that's why. Chrome Diesel, I'm curious what things are looking after 2024 for entertainment purposes only with the charters. Yeah, everybody is. Everybody is kind of concerned about that. No mullet, Wolverine hair, and chops. So there you go. Duke Chronic wants the Wolverine hair and chops. There's actually a really good video of a guy that's got the Wolverine cut, and his girlfriend or wife is giving him some trouble or some problems. I heard Denny Hamlin took his Mavis Tires Toyota Camry straight to Mavis Brakes and Tires for a fresh set of Goodyear tires, says in between the lanes. I think you're right. Is YouTube acting up? YouTube's been kind of wonky for about a week or two for me on my end. I don't know what it's looking like on you guys' end. So I don't know. I don't know. We do have some rain over here, so it could be the internet. I do have Starlink. Rain and thunderstorms sometimes do affect it. So it could be one of the two. My only gripe with Bass Pro Throwback is the 3 is white and not black. And oh yeah, they do have a white 3 instead of a black 3. Gold trim, which is me wondering why didn't they do that. My internet is messing up, says Jamie Schweitzer. Need to do something with that buffering. Shoe at Montreal that Danica ran over, so it was a shoe at Montreal. Not as fast as Xfinity 10G. Is NASCAR still putting cheated up parts on display? I don't know. They did the when they took away Keselowski's, they didn't show anybody's, and RFK and Keselowski showed the piece that was in question. 3 races for the Final 4. That would be perfect, says Duke Chronic. Bad internet, BB. I know nothing you can do about it. I mean, yeah, it's all good. Hopefully the internet comes back and we get rolling here. Danica ran over everything on the track, says T-Van. Touche, T-Van. Tony Sr. said on the radio to Danica, don't run over it. I personally believe this week in an audition at Kansas for Herbst to take Burton's ride. It's his first non-super speedway start. Says Ty Jesus Gibbs. Good handle there, my friend. No disrespect to anybody's religion. Jesus is a good dude, cool dude. A lot of good teachings from him, but that is a good handle. BB couldn't agree with you more on a playoff. Technically, you could win 35 races and lose the championship in the last race. Bingo, Bruce Garvey. That's one of my many gripes about that particular system. Thank you, Bruce. That's on the money, my friend. Denny might have a championship or two if it wasn't for the chase and the overall points. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, he's been one of the more dominant drivers for a long time now. He's in that strange realm with Mark Martin where he's always been in the top 4 driver in just about, like, I'll say for a decade. He's been probably one of the top 4 or 5 drivers. and he just doesn't have that championship to show for it. Mark Martin, of course, same situation. 89 was sort of a freak fluke thing where they got him with a lot of people, including myself, feel like was a really chintzy penalty. So it is what it is. And NASCAR putting up cheating parts. Just look at last week's winner. What a cheater, says William Wagaman. End of the first. Orlando 22. Oh man, Cleveland 33. Paolo was wearing his armband with a 5 on it. I may be crazy. I swear it is in the HMS font. So all right, Paulo Banchero rocking the number 5 Larson armband. I like it. He's a Duke former Duke player. Old Banchero there. Hopefully, we need 10 points. We need 10 points. We can't lose to Cleveland. Let's see. 12 drivers eliminating 1 after. I think the series is tied 2-2. 12 drivers eliminating 1 after each playoff race and reset points for the last 3 races. Most points win the championship, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, so that's the other thing. Good point there. We don't necessarily need 16 drivers in the playoffs either. So we can narrow it down and make the playoffs more special. Like it's more prestigious just to get into the playoffs too. So I think that's another good point that was brought up there. The reset of the points, yeah, very similar to the original chase. I like where you're going with that. Bumblebee, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here. Glad you made it. Hope you're doing good over there in the Georgia. Let's see. My favorite scheme for Darlington so far is the 5, says T-Van. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the 5. And a lot of people like the gold 3. I've seen a lot of positive thoughts on both of those. I'm with Old Chase. Just NASCAR didn't do a great job of track diversity in the final 10 races. Most of the tracks were Johnson's favorite tracks, but I prefer full season points, says Chrome Diesel. And part of the reason that those were Jimmy Johnson's favorite tracks is because Chad Knaus was a genius, and he figured out if we win 1 race, we can just do R&D for these tracks for the rest of the season. So that is a big reason. That's why you saw Jimmy Johnson at the beginning of the season was absolutely ripping it up. Then you see he would go through his typical midway slump through the middle of the season. Then when the playoffs came around, it was like, oh, look, Jimmy Johnson has found his mojo again. Oh, go figure. They had that system figured out so much better than anybody else. So kudos to them. They were the right team and the right system at the right time, and they just give them their props, man. They did what they needed to do in that era, like 6 championships in a row. Very, very impressive. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. A lot of people were irritated with it at the time. I hope you weren't so irritated with it at the time that you didn't appreciate the greatness that you saw going on. Because, man, what an era. I never, like Cale Yarborough's 3 in a row, Dale Sr., his 2 3 in a rows. Those things are so rare, man. Just to win a back-to-back championship is hard enough, but going 3 in a row, then 4, 5, 6 in a row, insane how focused and that is the only thing on your mind for that period of time. So hard to do what they did, regardless of how you feel about them, whether you like them or not. So got to give them props. I'm with the Old Chase, just NASCAR. Oh yeah, I just read that one. Bo Darville, good post there, Chrome. Bo Darville saying the Bandit Jimmy Johnson is now as good on Earth 2 as he used to be on regular Earth. Yeah, so he might be the first guy to have multiple titles on both Earths if he keeps it up doing what he's doing. But like I just said, no disrespect to him. He was in his era, he was the man. NBA could be going to NBC away from TNT. Could affect NASCAR coverage for the next TV deal. Also probably means IndyCar goes to Fox. Yay, more drivers as cartoon characters, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, the cartoon characters have got to go. And the whole TV deal, it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. What's the next track y'all are going to be running? South Boston this weekend. We'll have some drivers out there. Ty Gilliland had some root beer floats after Dover. Hey, there you go. The old A&W root beer car didn't have the run they had, but it was definitely a good scheme. And root beer is the best beer, unless you've got real beer. I would like to see SV drink responsibly. I would like to see SVG race in the Daytona 500 next year. I think you'll probably get that opportunity, Douglas. I feel like things are trending well for SVG. How do you think Harvick will do in the 5 at Wilkesboro? Larson in the Indy 500 qualifying. Does Larson make it in on time for the All-Star race? I think Kevin Harvick is he'll do as good as anybody can do, because he's the most recent, really, really excellent driver, a legendary driver. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And he just recently retired, so I feel like he's got a pretty good grasp for this car. So that's probably the best person you can plug in, given the circumstance. What's up, Bumblebee? Says T-Van. BB, what's better? Red's Apple Ale or Mike's Hard Lemonade? I like lemonade better than ale or apple ale, so I'll go with lemonade there. Do you think Hendrick, but they're both too sweet to drink more than like one or two. Do you think Hendrick will learn anything with Harvick shaking it down for Larson? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Here's like Kevin Harvick's obviously still got attachment to SHR. Does he steal things from Hendrick and take them to SHR, or does he accidentally let something slip that SHR is doing and Hendrick learns something? Maybe both, maybe none. Like we don't know. We don't know. That's between them. Harvick's a professional, so I don't think he'll let anything slip. But you never know. BB favorite 48 paint scheme Jimmy ever ran. Mine was the yellow and black Lowe's car at the duels. I like that red car he ran for like the red apron at Lowe's. I always thought that was a really good looking car. The Superman car was a good looking car. He had a SpongeBob car, or maybe it was I know he had a Madagascar car. I want to say he had like a SpongeBob car, but I could be mistaken. I think he had a SpongeBob the movie car. I can't call it off the. He's had a few over the years. All of the every time I got used to him, so I don't think of him anymore. But every time he went to Charlotte, he had the red, white, and blue flag schemes. All of those were usually pretty fire. So I would probably say those are my favorite ones, just because I saw him at the track in person, and I saw him win several races with those schemes. So probably the patriotic Lowe's Coke 600 schemes would be my favorite. That's not the Coke 600. Either way, when he ran the patriotic scheme at Lowe's, those were some of my favorites. Jesus Gibbs says, as a Miami Heat fan, it's just pain, but as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, the draft, we were running the ball 60 times a game. Hey, there you go. There you go. You had a good running back in the day with Connor. I think Connor was his name. O'Connor, maybe. He was pretty solid. Let him get away to Arizona. But yeah, Pittsburgh always known for the run game until they got old Big Ben. Then they started just flinging it all over the place. But you did get a championship out of Big Ben, so there you go. Can't be. It's not but so bad. No one has won 7 championships in a row, says Douglas Serrano. Yeah, not yet. It's going to be really hard with this particular format, but I'm never going to say never. But man, 6 in a row, I don't know if we'll ever see anything. In my lifetime, I doubt very much we'll see anything like that. But hopefully, I jinxed it and I get to see something like that. Steelers are looking good, says Napa Racing fan. As a F1 fan, I'm telling everyone to watch NASCAR over F1 this weekend. Miami is a terrible F1 track, says Bruce Garvey. F1, you don't really watch it for the racing anymore. I don't feel like you watch it to just see how good a certain car can be under the current configuration of the rules, and you get to see if that driver, that teammate, can outrun the other teammate. But man, as far as teams outrunning Red Bull right now, Red Bull just has them covered. They've come up with a better formula of building a race car under this formula of points, and it's just not even close. And it gets like this sometimes in F1. For a long time, it was Ferrari. Just pick a Mercedes before them, or Mercedes before Red Bull. So it just depends on it seems like every decade somebody figures something out, and then it just goes from there. But yeah, let's see. Early Kansas prediction: Toyota wins, says in between the lanes. That's probably a pretty fair statement. I saw somebody post that it's going to be Toyota versus Kyle Larson, because he seems to be, in their opinion, seems to be the only person that can hold the Toyotas at bay. Just off the top of my head, it's Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch not in the race, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, and Kevin Harvick with your best average finishes right there on driveraverages.com. BB, should NASCAR Cup go to the Miami F1 course, says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't know. I feel like the Miami track, a lot of people are upset with having too many road courses as it is. So I would say the Miami track that they've got there right now is probably going to be the best. That being said, on Earth 2, we're just going to throw up some pylons and some traffic cones. And we can have a course made in 30 minutes. Like we'll just do the old school, what do they call that stuff? Autocross. We'll just throw up an autocross course, except we're going to have 38 to 50 cars on the track at the same time. And that's just heat one. We're going to have over 200 cars entered. We'll be ready. Matty D still learning his new Xfinity team. Give him some time, says Douglas Serrano. I don't think anybody doubts Matty D's talent. It's just for whatever reason, when he leaves the team, there always seems to be some drama. Does a driver in any major racing series ever pass 7 championships? NASCAR, Earnhardt, Johnson, Petty, IndyCar, Foyt, maybe Dixon soon, and F1. Scott Dixon's going to be your best bet. He's still doing it at a high level. Hamilton and Schumacher. Hamilton's an interesting one. So with Ferrari getting Adrian Newey, who, if you're unfamiliar, he's like this genius car builder. He's been working at Red Bull. Red Bull's had some internal controversy over the guy that married the Spice Girl, Christian Horner, I want to say is his name. So a lot of people from the Red Bull team are leaving, and Ferrari has snapped up some of the really good people. And they've got Lewis Hamilton coming over there, even though I hate that we're losing Carlos Sainz. But if they can figure out something over there at Ferrari, and you've got Lewis Hamilton, and you've got Charles Leclerc, who I'm still big on as well, you've got a good chance for that to be a 7th championship for Lewis Hamilton. So Lewis might not be done yet. Can you say the schedule for the weekend to get into the pit without getting in trouble? Says Aaron Flynn. The schedule for the weekend to get into the pits without getting in trouble. I don't know. You just to get into the pits, you got to have a hot pass or an infield pass. So I don't know. I don't know about getting in trouble. I'm not sure what the question is there. F1's racing product is terrible right now. Usually there is a dominant team or driver, but mid-pack there was good racing. Now there's nothing. Yeah, I feel like it's not as long as I've been watching it, but for at least a couple decades, I feel like passing has been a serious issue in F1, and I'm very casual on watching F1. I'm not going to claim to be an expert. Let's see. NBA doesn't allow owners to be players. Will NASCAR ever make a similar rule? Not right now. I don't think we'll see that. I don't know if we'll ever see that because it just in the NASCAR format, it just doesn't make any sense. Here's my format proposal for the weekend. Instead of 2 groups, each having the reason they do it in the NBA is because there's a players union and there's an owners agreement or whatever bargaining agreement, and you can't sit on both sides of the table. That's the reason they do it in the NBA. So a NASCAR right now doesn't have a reason with the drivers, a driver being an owner like that. That wouldn't mess with anything. Now I think we're NASCAR, but Ben Kennedy raced in the Truck Series, so I don't know. Like maybe if you were a NASCAR higher up, you wouldn't be allowed to race. Maybe they made a rule like that because that would be more in line with why the NBA has their rule. Here's my format proposal for the weekend. Instead of 2 groups, each having 20-minute sessions, hour of practice for qualifying. That's it. I don't know. Like to me, until they get rid of the charters, here's my deal with qualifying. Until they get rid of the charters, it's just not going to matter because we already know who's in the race. So qualifying, you can do whatever you want to spice up qualifying. Nobody's going to watch it because even if your guy wrecks in practice, like you know he's in the race as long as he's got a charter. So just qualifying has no real consequences. So I feel like that's the reason people have stopped watching qualifying. Cheating pays. Red Bull broke the F1 cost cap rules and gains made worth the little penalty they got, says Sheldon Williams. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. Like that's a big controversy that goes overlooked. That's not the only controversy Christian Horner is facing as well, but they've got a lot of drama going over there at Red Bull. But yeah, that is I didn't even think about that one. I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, they did that too. Like I was thinking about the workplace harassment thing going on with Christian Horner. I feel like that's another reason some people have left. Agree. Split groups is totally pointless. Do it the way they used to. 1 normal practice and 1 normal qualifying would be good, says Napa Racing Fan. Look at Steve Kinser and Danny Schatz for multiple championships. Wow, says Tom Strawmeyer. Yeah, that's dirt. So that's a little bit different. So dirt, for whatever reason, doesn't get brought up into those things. And I'm far from a dirt expert, but I want to say Steve Kinser has. Does Steve Kinser have like 11? And John Force probably has a whole bunch too. John Force probably has more than 7 in drag racing. So Yeah, good point. Good point. Let's see. Ryan Truex and Carson Voppel get a full-time Xfinity Series ride in 2025. I don't know about Ryan Truex. Carson Voppel, that would probably be the one I lean toward that would probably get a full-time ride. BB, what do you think made NASCAR go to the playoff formats? One particular reason changed it, like Mike Helton or them trying to have a Game 7 moment style like the NBA seems dumb, like you said. So the original reason, just going back and remembering that far back, all fans wanted with the old Latford system was for race wins to count as more points. That is all the fans were asking for. Now, NASCAR, in their infinite wisdom, concocted the chase format. And they didn't concoct the chase format because they were listening to the fans. They took what the fans were asking for and used it as an excuse to do what they wanted to do. For example, NASCAR with the fuel saving strategy. We saw Elton Sawyer come out, and I was going to make these comments where Talladega is on the table. And I thought to myself, that is the, by God, dumbest damn thing I have ever heard in my entire life as a solution to getting rid of fuel saving at Talladega, because nobody is asking for an extra stage caution. In fact, we were complaining about commercials, and we don't want any more commercials, which is the only reason that putting another stage in there is even on their radar, because the TV companies are like, oh my God, yes, we can run even more commercials and make even more money. So once again, NASCAR in that situation, it's very reminiscent of what they did to create the chase. They're doing what they want to do. Oh, let's cram another stage in here potentially because they said it's on the table. They're not going to necessarily for sure do it, but they're going to put another stage caution in there so they can run some more commercials for TV. Once again, using what the fans say, twisting it so that they can do what they want to do. And that is how we basically got the chase and then later the playoffs, because it's what the fans asked for. So NASCAR is going to do what NASCAR wants to do, and then they're going to take stuff, twist it around, and say, whatever they want to say to justify it. So there you go. There's your probably a longer answer than what you wanted to hear, but that's why the playoffs came here, because NASCAR wanted to do that, to your point, to get that Game 7 moment, because they're trying to be at that time like stick and ball sports. So yeah, 100%, it's what NASCAR wanted to do. And they used what the fans were asking for, which is just more points for a race win under the Latford system to justify doing that. Wait, is F1 a racing series? I thought it was more of a parade, says Bo Darville. Adrian Newey has been a designer for 12 Constructor Championship cars. He should be the first one in the F1 Hall of Fame, says Bruce Garvey. Amen. And I've got his book. His book is, even if you know nothing about F1, his book is actually, it's just life lessons that he's learned. He starts off with like a racing thing, and then he turns it into like life stories that he's learned. So really good book by Adrian Newey. If you want to go out there and purchase it, I can't call the title off the top of my head, but he does have a good book. You can get it wherever books are sold. BB, what's more boring to watch on TV? Bowling, fishing, boat racing, tennis, or golf? I've never been a big fan of golf. I just can't get into watching golf on TV. I know it's fun to play, and I'm not trying to trash golf. I just can't watch it on TV. For me, watching golf on TV, even though they're in the studio, they're still whispering, like they're sitting right beside the guy playing golf. And that just really gets on my nerves. I can't stand it. I can't. I just can't deal with it. It's being fake for the sake of being fake. Like they're. And he steps up, approaches, looks like he's gonna do it. Oh yeah, that's a good putt. Like they're in a studio. They're in a studio. They're not going to affect the guy putting. They can talk in a normal voice. I don't know why it irritates me, but it does. So there you go. There's my mental illness on full display for the evening. South Austin Speedway, didn't know if you can talk about that one on here. Oh, to get into the pits at South Austin, you just got to be working on a race team and then sign up with the race team you're working on. You just go get your armband at the back gates. Usually you can get it on Friday when you're practicing and stuff like that. it's no big deal. Just show them your NASCAR card and all that good stuff. Rest in peace, Wally Dallenbach Sr. I did see that. I should have mentioned that. I forgot about that. Wally Dallenbach's dad, Wally Dallenbach Sr., passed away. So rest in peace to him. Pretty cool. I never knew that he actually raced. I never knew that Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s dad actually raced as well. So I actually found out all that out after the fact. Let's see. Do you think removing the diffusers will fix most of our issues? Says one wise guy. I think it'll help. I think it'll certainly help because the way they've got it set up now. It's almost like an air cannon, just firing air directly at the front nose. So they could figure out a little bit different way of going about it. We don't need more commercials. We see 40 of them running on the track every week, says NASCAR, Napa Racing Fan for sure. Sheldon saying the reason the current chase format can be summed up on 2 words. Jimmy Johnson. It's been a while, but now I still remember going to Homestead and all Jimmy. Says Sheldon. Yeah, like if Jimmy Johnson hadn't won 6 in a row, like we would still have the old chase, in my opinion. I agree with you 100% there, Sheldon. Parker Retzlaff is easily the most underrated prospect in NASCAR right now. But before they had that chase is what I was talking about. Fans just wanted more points out of the Latford system, so they took that and flipped it, and that's why we got the chase. And then everybody's like, it's because Matt Kenseth only won 1 or 2 races the year he won the championship. That wasn't it. NASCAR just wanted to be wanted to have like a playoff type deal for stick and ball sports, and eventually they iterated it to get to an actual playoff. Parker Retzlaff is easily the most underrated prospect in NASCAR right now. The guy's good, yeah, without a doubt. Parker Retzlaff is definitely good. Old Jay Gibbs there. I miss watching old Cup races, 2000 to 2007 qualifying, when the teams would completely almost tape off the front end of the cars. It looked awesome. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Yep, for sure. We still do that in late models. We still tape off the front end for qualifying, and the well, they don't look like that anymore, but you can look at some of the limiteds. Some of the limiteds have that look of the 07 cars, 2000 to 2007 cars. Got that sort of that bullet shape to the nose or whatever. I still remember going to Homestead when all Jimmy had to do was finish on the lead lap. Yep. And to me, Sheldon, that's like the way a championship should be. Like, you've put in your work the whole season. The last race should just be like, if you've done that good. Now, it's not going to be like that every time. Don't get me wrong. Ask the 1992 champion, or if you could, Alan Kawicki. Like that was a nail biter to the end. But like, if you've done such a good job that you've kicked everybody's butt all season, the last race should just be like, just go out there and make some laps, soak it all in. And then there's crazy people like Kyle Larson that are going to go out there and try to win the race, right? So we'll try to win the race anyway. So it is what it is. Just different eras, and that's all you can say about it. Hello, friends. It's Jim Nance. Says in between the lanes, we're at the Masters, a tradition like none other, or whatever he says. I can't remember. Laugh my butt off. The gold commentating, says OJ and Toothpaste. The points scored each race from 2007 to 2010 was exactly what Dale Earnhardt. How many people have done the Jim Nance impression though? For real, like he's so famous that a lot of people do that impression, I feel like. So kudos to Jim Nance for having that voice and all that good stuff. Let's see. The points scored each race from 07 to 2010 was exactly what Dale Earnhardt suggested in 1990. Add 5 or 10 more points for the win, says Chrome Diesel. So there you go. I say so many tires per year and let the teams use however many tires they want per race until they run out for the season, says Jamie Schweitzer. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. The only thing about that is you would really have to police it, because then they would get into soaking tires and stuff like that. Which I know a lot of people are like, they would never soak tires. Bull crap. They would find a way. Golf whispering is dumb. I agree, says OJ and Two-Face. Yeah, I just can't. Like, it's so like back in the day, it made sense because you were actually at the golf course. But now they're in a studio. They're far away from all the action. They don't have to whisper. It just, they're just doing it for aesthetics. And they pipe in the bird noises too. There's not that many daggum birds when there's people standing around. The bird noises are piped in. Credit to Dan Patrick, who originally put me onto that. What up, homie? I don't know Dan Patrick. I just watch his show. Bumstead saying, what up, homie? What's up, Bumstead? Good to see you on here, my friend. How many Band-Aids can we put on the next gens? I don't know. There's just one more. There's always room for one more, one wise guy. I thank Brian France for creating the chase format. He was super proud about that thing, Douglas Serrano. I bet Wendy's wants more stages so they can cram in 15 more a race and have it your way. BS says OJ and toothpaste. Yeah, for sure. Halftime. All right, we got it down to 1 point. The Magic, we got it down to 1 point. We're gonna flip it. We're gonna flip the script on Cleveland. We're gonna take the lead. Cleveland was up 2-0 in the series. We're about to be up 3-2. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it, and I probably just jinxed us. Sorry about that, say Kyle, but yeah, we got it down to 1 point at half. OJ and toothpaste. What would Dale Sr. think about this current playoff style and fuel conserving at Talladega in the restart zones? I don't think he would have cared for it. I think he would have been of the mind that the Toyota team was at before they ruined the strategy, being a little too aggressive with their pushing. Toyota had the strategy, and Toyota ended up winning the race. Don't get me wrong. But they had the perfect strategy to have 6 or 7 cars finish way in front of everybody else, a la what Stuart Haas did that one year at Talladega. But man, they pushed each other in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and calamity happened. But I did like their strategy that they said, you know what, we're not going to ride around. We're going to go out here and put you guys to a decision. You have to make a decision. You can't keep saving fuel. We're going to go race. I think Dale Sr. would have been of that mindset, and he would have had a group of guys going with him. Dale Sr. was such a big name at the time, though. I think whatever Dale Sr. did, all the other guys would have done anyway. So he would have dictated guys not saving fuel. He would have gone out there and got after it. The current chase format was created by Brian France on a fever dream of substances, says Keith Risk. Dare to say no, my friends. Say Kyle, BB, if I'm HMS, why should I trust that Harvick is going to have the 5 cars best interest in my mind when he hops in the car and not steal info? He's a Ford guy. This is like sleeping with a retired enemy. Hey, I brought it up. I did talk about it. Like, that is something that could happen. But that being said, he is your best option to put in that car to qualify it well, because he is a veteran, future Hall of Famer without question. So he's going to be your best person you can put in that car. My only concern would be and I'm not even joking, how long are Kyle Larson's legs compared to Kevin Harvick's legs? Because it could be really uncomfortable in there for Kevin Harvick, because it would be really, in my opinion, it would be really hard to move the seat backwards and forwards. That's typically not something you want to be doing race day. Maybe they've got a system that I don't know about, but putting a seat in a race car is a pain in the butt. Now I know they're going to put the foam inserts in. I'm not talking about that, but if Kevin Harvick's legs are significantly, and I'm thinking they are, because Kyle Larson's not super tall, that could be an issue. Like Kevin Harvick could be very uncomfortable in that race car. So yeah, there's your dynamite analysis from the short track guy. Dan Patrick is the man, just like Rich Eisen. Yeah, I like both of those guys, man. Back when the 101 was a channel, that was the bomb back in the day, because you got Dan Patrick in the morning, and then you got Rich Eisen at lunchtime. Or if you were on the West Coast, you got Dan Patrick really early in the morning, and then you got Rich Eisen for the regular part of the morning. Fox showing Tailgate Kings during the green flag race was bad. Also showing Hamlin versus Larson at Kansas last year in the final 6 laps at Dover when a close battle come on. Says Napa Race Fan. Yeah, and also when they came back from a really long commercial, they came back with like a segment instead of coming right back to the race. I felt like they should have come right back to the race. And then if nothing was happening, then go into your segment about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it infuriated me. I was like, oh, come on, guys. Like, we just got done with a commercial. Now you're onto a segment talking about something. Has a team tried windshield tear-offs on the front clip? Cheat code, LOL. Says Bumstead. I want to say it wasn't necessarily tear-offs, but I do think somebody tried like some type of, I think that they did the opposite of this back in the day. I think they put like some type of adhesive on the front of the bumpers back when they had the tandem drafting. I think it was either DEI or Hendrick. I think they tried some abrasive substance so you could lock bumpers better or something like that. I've done a Jim Nance impersonation before on Madden in high school. When he would start, I would go, "Hello, this is Jim Nance and Phil Simms on CBS, ready for the NFC matchup." Says OJ and Toothpaste. Do you think we get a good show at Kansas like we did last season? I hope so. Kansas is usually a really good race, so hopefully it lives up to its name. Sims and Esiason, no longer with CBS. Cower is still there, though. Make Fox great again, says Douglas Serrano. Staying away from the politics, but I understand he's telling a joke there, so let's not get into the politics. I know that triggers Some people love it. Let's see. BB also, when would I play NASCAR '09 on voice chat during the middle of the race? I would ask a driver in the middle of the race, hey, this is Dale Jarrett on ESPN booth. You got a copy, bud? Laughing my butt off, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, I remember when they had like the random spotters on the EA Sports game, and they would just tell you the most basic stuff. But it was really cool that they at least added it in for that era of gaming. My bad, the repeat topic, situation for them. I got you, say, Kyle. You're good, my friend. You're good, my brother. I appreciate your updates on the Magic game. Harvick will be like a kid in a candy store in an HMS car, says Duke Chronic. And that's anybody that brings up a topic twice. I don't care. I'll try to answer it twice. Let's see. Would be like a kid in a candy store in the HMS car. Yeah, that's something that a lot of people wanted to see for a long time. Kevin Harvick in an HMS car, at least Kevin Harvick fans, because we were always using the excuse that, if Kevin Harvick was in a Hendrick car, he'd be beating Jimmy Johnson. That was just the way it was back in the day. The problem with Toyota's Talladega strategy was including Nemechek, says Bo Darville. So there you go. He tends to wreck a lot of people. I'll have to agree with you there. NASCAR president serves 4-year terms and is elected by full-time Cup drivers only on Earth 2, says Jamie Schweitzer. I like it. Fox was the gold standard. Now they're here's what's not to do standard. Says, oh yeah, how the mighty have fallen, man. Fox, their coverage of NASCAR has fallen off quite significantly. Yep, Napa Racing Fan, 927 looks like Matt Ryan and J.J. Watt are the replacement for James Brown and James Burleson. Will be there as well. It says in between lanes, power seats. Says put the old power seats in there. Late again. What up, BB and everyone? What's up, David McSwain? Good to have you on here, my friend. Odd moves, but could work. Could they keep Cower though? Says Napa Race Fan. Talking about the football booth here is what they're talking about. Just in case you missed the earlier comments. Kyle said the way they're doing it, the team will have overnight to change the seat and pedals back around. Okay, so they're going to do it overnight. So that makes more sense. They've got a significant amount of time because it's not as cut and dry as one would have it, and it's still going to be a little bit of a process. But at least Kyle Larson, I would think, would be there by the next day. So you will have him in there in the car to get everything situated right. It's one of the more, at least for late models, and I'm sure they've got specialists over there at Hendrick. But for late models, it's one of the more irritating things. I remember when I was getting my seat put in my car. I've actually got a better seat now. But I choose not to. I've got a LaJoy seat that I'm going to put in the Nissan that we're building. But for my limited late model that I'm hoping to run toward the middle or end of this season, fingers crossed, we're gonna get it done this year, guys. I chose not to take that seat out because I was already in there and I've got that seat set perfectly like how I want it. So I'm just going to roll with that seat because it's just such a pain in the butt. It's just one of those weird things that I guess you wouldn't normally think about. But once I started, I know I never would have thought about it when I was just a fan. But now that I've actually had to help put a seat in before, it is a pain in the neck, dude. It's one of my least favorite one of my least favorite tasks in late model because it's just time consuming, and you just feel like you can spend a whole day getting a seat in, and it just makes you feel like you didn't get anything done. Wait, if we get a Black Swan event and Larson wins the 500, is the 5 car locked into the All-Star? Would Harvick be locked in? Would Harvick? No. I think if that happens, obviously they would run Harvick. But I'm pretty sure Kyle Larson, if something like happens weather-wise or anything like that, Kyle Larson will come back and race the All-Star. I would imagine as long as he did enough to get to be able to drive in the Indy 500. Kevin isn't eligible for the All-Star race, says Bones. Harvick is 4 inches taller than Larson, so not too bad, says Bo Darville. At least on paper. It seems bigger in person. Oh man, that's going to be a meme. Didn't seem oh god. Didn't seem to me FS1 had less commercials than Fox. Also UFL on Fox instead of the NASCAR Cup Series is very disappointing. I cracked myself up. Let's see. Yeah, the UFL and whatever when they combined, I mean I guess that's a good thing they combined, but I still can't believe that they're putting that coverage in front of NASCAR. But that tells you what they think about NASCAR, I guess. Unless their strategy is to put NASCAR on cable to make people buy cable, I don't know. TV commercials were longer than 5 minutes and missed 38 seconds. 38 seconds of caution, says Duke Chronic. BB, do you like the Craftsman Truck Series booth or is it bad? I like the I like the Craftsman. I think Jamie Little will figure it. I called her Jamie Foxx the other day. I think Jamie Little will figure it. Jamie is a fox. Jamie Little is a fox. I think she will figure it out. But you got to give her time, man. Like she's done sideline. She's done pit road reporting for the longest time. It's a big transition, and she's admitted it. She's putting in the work. She'll get there. So it'll be all good. I didn't mean politics. I just meant NASCAR on Fox, as Douglas. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. But it's because it's an election year. It's a politically charged atmosphere. I didn't want anybody to take it the wrong way when I said it. Because once again, I don't care who anybody votes for. That's their business. I'm here to talk about racing, and so is Mr. Serrano. We knew what you meant, brother. We knew it was a joke. Who do I bet on Sunday? Says Bumstead. That's a good question. By the statistics, where's driver averages? Driver averages right here. Denny Hamlin is on favorite without question. Kyle Larson would have to be there too, and well, Kurt Busch isn't in it, so Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, by the statistics, are looking like your two best picks there. On Earth too, John Hunter Nemechek is considered, like Mark Martin, a very clean racer and never wrecks anyone, and always has kind words and intelligent things to say after the race. He doesn't get on social media and argue with fans. Just an overall intelligent, good master of social media, who has a real YouTube channel without the inflated bot number of like 1 million or 500,000 or whatever he's got over there. Not saying he bought his channel. I'm just saying it's bizarre that he's got that many followers compared to Haley Deegan. Fox Sports coverage is bad. They went away from horses loading at the Belmont last year to show a taped interview. Just got back in time for the start, says Bruce Garvey. So yeah, that is we do have the horse racing deal going on pretty soon here as well. The Triple Crown is popping off. Larson said it would be more logistically difficult to do Wilkesboro and Indy qualifying than Indy 500 and Coke 600. Yeah, I think that's because of the airport situation. I would guess. I'm just guessing. How's the project cars coming along? Says one wise guy. The Nissan is it's going. We're getting closer on the Nissan. And then we'll jump into the other stuff. Everything is just in flux right now because of late model season. They should put Fox Sports Deportes commentators on the booth to spice up the broadcast. They are just naturally more passionate and not so analytical, says Sheldon Williams. I love it, man. I like what you're thinking there. They do a good job over there. Only problem is my Spanish is not that good, so I can't figure out everything they're saying, but I get the gist of what they're getting at. Brian France and Jeremy Mayfield cage fight before the Coca-Cola 600 this year, says Jamie Schweitzer. That would be interesting. Oh man, I've got such a funny joke, but I can't tell it on YouTube. The winner would get an 8-ball that you can play pool with. That would be what they would fight over. So there you go. They are both big pool fanatics, and they're fighting over the magic 8-ball to see whose fate and whose future would be the best. Always seems bigger in person, says Bones does. Roasting me for the misspeak earlier. How big would it be for motorsports if Kyle Larson won the Indy 500 in his first start? That would be freaking nuts. And to win the Coke 600 in the same day would be Earth 2 stuff. Without question, man. Like if he just runs good at the Indy 500, man, that would be crazy. I had a brain fart. I was talking about the All-Star would be impacted by an Indy win, not the 600. Hey, my brain reset earlier today too. I called the Supra a Nissan, and got properly roasted for it in some of the comments before. Hopefully, I took that 2 seconds of mental breakdown out. Does Mama Berger have a driver? She likes Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott. So when Chase Elliott was winning his race, she was over there silently rooting him on, shaking her fist. That was about as pumped up as I've seen her in a long time. She was really happy that Chase Elliott won, and she's a big Martin Truex Jr. fan as well. Indy qualifying should be top priority, and she super dislikes Denny Hamlin, so she is dislike Denny gang. Indy qualifying should be top priority, but love to see Larson do Wilkesboro also. He could be the most successful ever doing the 500, 600 double. It's going to be hard to top Kurt Busch's 6th place finish. Not really comparable because AJ Foyt actually raced full seasons, but AJ Foyt's another one. Obviously, Mario Andretti with the Daytona 500 win and an Indy 500 win as well. Martin Truex Jr. finishes the WAR. Says one wise guy, it's guaranteed Ford won't win the top 3 series until the Kentucky Derby finishes Saturday at least. That's wild, says Napa Race Fan. That is wild. Jamie Little is great. in the pits, needs practice for the booth, says Bones. Yeah, and I think she's getting better all the time in the booth, so I think she'll get there. She's a hard worker. She'll get it. She'll get it done. And to be fair, I don't think she's terrible. And the situation they put her in, where she has to call it from the booth in Charlotte, that's not an optimal situation either. So it's a difficult situation she's in. Period. If NASCAR abolishes the charters, what's going to be the format for qualifying? Probably go back to like old school, where you race your way in for like the first 6 races, then they have some type of system where points count, so people higher in points are basically automatically in, and you would have to go back to provisionals and stuff like that. Don't mess around with Marietta, New Jersey's Martin Truex Jr. says in between the lanes. Deegan in second in the 250 class motocross. He has a chance, says Bumstead. Yeah, he's tearing it up over there in the dirt bikes like his dad did before him. I'm here for the cage fight and the pool ball, says Bones does. Yeah, that would be. They would probably go hard in the fight if that was the prize. Sometimes I think Suarez is speaking Spanish when he comments on the Xfinity races. Having a guy who nobody can understand is an interesting strategy, says Bo Darvel. I think Suarez his English has improved every single year that he's been in the Cup Series. So I can't speak Spanish, and I can read Norwegian a little bit, but I can't. Dude, my Norwegian accent is probably the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Spanish accent isn't much better. English accent very thick as well. So I can't really speak anything properly. I guess we should say. BB, do you remember when that skydiver wrecked into Harvick's car? I did not think about that until you just said it. Back in 2011, they had to weld the door back together and push back the start time. Says OJ and TV. That was insane. I'd forgotten all about that until you just said something. Yes, I do remember it now, though. Just drink the milk, kiss the bricks, and on to Charlotte for Kyle Larson. Yeah, he can do all the interviews and stuff from his airplane, I guess. Mom fits in well with us. LOL, says one wise guy. How cool would it be to see Chase Elliott winning at Darlington and Dale Jr.'s throwback scheme? That would definitely be pretty cool for sure. But the 9 car I'm talking about is in the Xfinity Series. I don't know what Chase's throwback is going to be. If they've released it or not, but I think they did, so I don't know. But it would be cool. Yeah, anytime you can win in a Dale Jr. scheme, that's going to be a fan favorite for sure. Ford's last win was Blaney at Martinsville. What Chase Elliott needs to do as a scheme, though, one year, he's got to throw it back to the Coors number 9 one time. He's got to throw it back to the Coors number 9 one time for his dad. I got to see that one time at Darlington. Ford's last win was Blaney at Martinsville, fall of 21 at Phoenix. Because you just assume that the championship race, the champion wins. Would you rather see Cup races at Bowman Gray or Hickory Motor Speedway? Hickory Motor Speedway, I feel like is good, but Bowman Gray, I don't know. It's a toss-up, like flip a coin for me. I do have a poll question up, and Mullet is winning. Mohawk Mullet for Darlington or by Darlington. Mohawk is 18%, Mullet 53%. I know you're too old. Don't cut your hair is at 29%. So 29% looking out for me. 53% of you just want to see the mullet for the lulz. And 18% have not seen the OG Mohawk, but the OG Mohawk was pretty solid. But I'm definitely way too old for that. Not too old to grow it, just too old to be stupid walking around looking with it on there. But if you can swing the vote, I will. I'll think about doing it. I'm not going to promise anything. Last time I promised something, I bought a Fiat, and I still haven't finished that for the project yet. BBD, I bought it though. BBD, let's see, I read all that. Jamie is getting better in the booth, but Mikey is nothing but a hype guy, and Parsons repeats stuff because he doesn't listen. Says Bo Darvel. So yeah, the truck booth is getting it pretty hard today. One of my favorite races in 2011 was the Daytona 500, says Douglas Serrano. Yeah, 2011 Daytona 500 was definitely a really good one. I want to say 07 Daytona 500 for me was a really good one. For Mark Martin fans, really painful. Chrome Diesel saying, have you tried Russian? I have not tried Russian, my friend. So I don't speak that one. Who else could attempt the double German? I used to have to read a little bit of German for the equipment I worked on, so I can read a very slight amount of German. There's a lot of cognates from German to English, which I wasn't expecting. Who else could attempt the double other than the Kyles? Busch and Larson attempted the Indy 500 in 2025. So far, it would be interesting to see who would be up for that. And maybe you could have it from the from the Indy side. Like maybe you get Scott Dixon over there. Maybe somebody wants to put Scott Dixon in a car, Scotty McLaughlin. So maybe you could get it the reverse, like get an IndyCar driver to come over and try the 600 after the Indy 500. I'd like to see that too. BB with a mohawk would immediately receive a court order, not to come within 100 yards of a school. LOL says, say Kyle, I'll send you the picture of it, my man, or jump on Discord, my dude. It's on Discord somewhere. If you can change one thing in NASCAR outside of the playoffs, what would it be? Oh man, outside of the playoffs, just one thing. I'd go back to letting teams build their own chassis. Now, I know everybody's going to say we want more horsepower and stuff like that, but I think letting your team build their own chassis is going to be a bigger deal. I think that would be a bigger deal that you would see immediate payoff from. Let's see. If I had that same Guns N' Roses shirt in 1992, says Bones, for sure. This was one of the first Guns N' Roses albums that I bought. So Appetite for Destruction, I think, was this album cover, if I'm not mistaken. My favorite Daytona 500s are 98, 2004, 2007, 2011, 2014, and 2016, says Douglas Serrano. Danica would have been first woman to run double. She didn't try it, says Duke Crown. I'm surprised she didn't try it, too. Not a popular opinion, but the Cup Series needs at least one dirt race a year. I think Eldora should be it. Yeah, I think it would be cool to have a dirt race, and I'm with you. I think they should do it at a dirt track, and there's none better than Eldora. And do it under dirt rules, like where you have a bunch of heat races and stuff like that. Not the way NASCAR tried to do it, with cramming like as many cars on the track for the final as they could. It was too sweet, says one wise guy. It would be cool to see Dixon or a Penske driver do the double with the 600. It would be cool. They should try a real dirt track. Putting dirt on Bristol isn't a natural dirt race, says Napa Racing Fan. I agree with you. I'm sure the Mohawk was good back in the day. Once you're over 30, though, things change. LOL, says say Kyle. 100%, my man. 100%. It's unless you're actually in the band, you can't have gray facial hair and be rocking a Mohawk. At least those are my rules. I'm not trying to judge anybody. If you want to do that, you go do you. You don't worry about what I'm talking about. I'm a fool, and you do you. You live your own life. I'm just talking about my own personal code. I would like to see the Daytona 500 end in sunlight again by starting the race at 11 Eastern time and get rid of stage cautions. So that's the other thing with the football schedule moving around. They might have to move the Daytona 500. And if they run it on Super Bowl weekend, it might be a situation where the Daytona 500 runs at noon again. So a lot of people into that. Let's see. If you could do one thing in NASCAR, you should just go back to the 2003 rule book. Yeah, there you go. That wouldn't be a bad suggestion there, Bandit. I just found out I like Mama Burger, says T-Van. So Baloney Mom getting a lot of love for being a Chase Elliott, Martin Truex fan and hating Denny Hamlin. I heard John Hunter Nemechek next year. She also hates Joey Logano because of being a Martin Truex Jr. fan as well. I heard John Hunter Nemechek next year will actually be the first driver to. She actually gives me crap for wearing my Joey Logano shirts from time to time. Triple on the Memorial Day. I heard she also hates Darrell Waltrip, but that's her story to tell. Monaco Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Wow, when he was a driver, I should say. Breaking news via Bob Pockrass. There you go. John Hunter Nemechek next year may be the first driver to do the triple. Oh, there you go. So on Earth 2. On Earth 2, Robert Pockrass has broken the John Hunter Nemechek will do the triple. We're joking, by the way, so don't go out here and believing don't go out here believing that that's actually going to happen. But on Earth 2, John Hunter Nemechek's running the triple. He's going to start at Monaco. He's going to get in the Concorde, the supersonic jet. He's going to fly across. He is going to go do the Indy 500. Then he's going to take another jet and do the Coke 600. And the real question is, can he wreck in every single one of those races? That is the real question. How many teammates can he take out in those races? Do you think Tony would let them come back? I'm just joking. John Hunter Nemechek's a good dude, but those are low-hanging fruit jokes, and you have to tell them. Do you think Tony would let them come back? Says one wise guy. I don't know. It's a weird situation between him and NASCAR right now. Dirt race would have to be with a different car. Yeah, so that's another thing they could do to spice it up. Just use a an actual dirt late model, like they did for the Dream, the Prelude to the Dream or whatever. How about you poll to see if you shave the beard into a monkey tail beard? Says say Kyle. I don't even know what that is, so I'd have to look it up. I assume it's the one where you just put the rubber bands in it and it trails off like that. Who was that? Was it the dude? Was it Anthrax? Who was the oh man, who was there's a punk rocker who has that look. Joey isn't there to make friends, says Bones. For sure he's not. Like I said, that's her opinion, not mine. Frankie Munoz is the man, says in between the lanes. He might get the deal done here. He gets better every year. I would like to see him go full time in Xfinity though. My dad went with me to Dover. He's upset about the air block, says Chrome Diesel. I'm sure he is. Like it's tough. It's tough to deal with if you don't want the guy in front to win. If your guy's in front, you're like, hell yeah, air block, baby. So it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But overall, when neither of those things are true, when neither of those things are true, you want the air block to be gone. Period. You should have Baloney Mom tell the story on a short at the end of an upload, says one wise guy. Oh my God, Google monkey tail beard. It's hilarious. LOL, says say Kyle. Laughing my butt at the John Hunter Nemechek triple, says OJ and Toothpaste combined. Xfinity, Craftsman, ARCA, trucks at the same time. Put 20 plus road courses. Hey, there you go. 20 plus road courses. That would be it. And at least 13 or 14 dirt races. I like where you're going with there, Baron Von Weebs. The originator of the groove to tire theory that I bring up from time to time. So I want to give him, while you're here and I got you on there, I want to give you full credit for that because that's something I'd never really thought about. The groove tires for less grip. There's the guy right there that put me on to that. So shout out to him and big respect. We're Anthrax and we take no crap, says Bones. Hamlin says fans just don't like him winning. He could have saved up his stuff and kept charging Larson from passing him. Says Napa Racer fan. Can Kyle Busch turn it around this season? I think yesterday, or not yesterday, but I think Dover was a big step in the right direction. Yeah, I think they certainly can turn it around. I think, like I've been telling everybody, the speed's there. They just got to get some finishes and clean up the execution a little bit. Who is a bigger threat, Burton or Nemechek? Statistically, this season, I'm actually going to have to say Nemechek, but I need to look at it because I said statistically without looking up the statistics. Logano only +3 on the cut line right now. But to be fair, last week he was out of it. So moving up into the cut line is big. But yeah, I'm with you. Joe Logano not having the season he expected to have, especially on an even numbered year. On even numbered years, that's when Joe Lo shines. I wish Hamlin would get less booze when he raced a clean race, except when he wins all the time, says Douglas Serrano. 22 has been a dumpster fire this season. Yeah, man, like for whatever reason, he can't figure out what they've got going on over there on the 12 car. Kerry King from Slayer had the beard you were talking about. Kerry King, that's exactly who I'm thinking about, Tom. Thank you for that. On Earth 2, to figure out this air blocking stuff, they have to pop out a 10-inch COT wing spoiler with the push of a button, says OJ. Hey, the push to pass, man. I'm or the what is it? The DFS. What do they call it? What do they call it in F1? Whatever they call it in F1. I'm not a huge fan of Logano as a driver, but he's really good in the booth. He does like a lot of really cool stuff off the track too that I guess a lot of people don't know about. He's really cool with the fans too, man. He's like, if you actually met Joey Logano, like he's a super cool dude. I met him a long time ago, like back at Charlotte back in the day, just back when he was driving the Home Depot car for Joe Gibbs. Super cool, super nice. You couldn't ask for a nicer person. So I think a lot of people, if they met Joey Logano in person, they might not necessarily pull for him, but they would have a better opinion of him. I like the people that don't like him. There's definitely plenty of people that do like him. I like the scoring pylon at Dover. Data and Wi-Fi were trash. Okay, so there we go. That's good information. The Wi-Fi at Dover is not up to par with the Wi-Fi at some other tracks. Are you worried about Ford, says Bones? I am concerned about, I was not going to panic, but now I'm starting to panic a little bit for the Fords. It's starting to look like the 2018 Chevrolet Camaro year when only Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon were able to get wins. Maybe Alex Bowman, but I want to say just Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon got wins in the Chevy that year. The Knicks and Sixers heading to overtime. Oh man, can the Knicks close it out here? It's going to be interesting going to overtime. Appreciate you there in between the lanes. Chase Elliott, another top 5, says Duke Chronic. Yep, he's found a DRS. Thank you there in between the lanes. Who's higher in points, the 2 or the 22? Logano has been Cindric bad this year. So Cindric, I want to say, is 20th in points, and Joey Logano is above him in 14th or 13th. But I can tell you for sure right here, Joey Logano is 13th, and Austin Cindric is 19th. So he's 19th in points. Nowhere near the 22. Nemechek wrecks everyone. Burton is more likely to just wreck himself, so he's very considerate when he gets in his wreck. Drag reduction system, says Bones. Appreciate it. I actually never knew why it was called that. International Legends Festival. I just knew they called it DRS. International Legends Festival with all 120 NASCAR drivers. Hey, there you go. That would be something to behold. As long as none of them wreck and get hurt, like when they tried to have that old timers late model race and somebody got hurt, and that was the end of the old timers races. Magic just took their first lead of the night. Let's go, say Kyle. Let's go. We're gonna get it done. I heard they pulled the Mustang Dark Horse from overseas competition. Says one wise guy for poor performances. Yeah, so I feel like they did something with the body. They probably saw something in the wind tunnel with the body, and in it can look really good on simulation data, but then when you practice it in the real world, sometimes it goes bad. So hopefully they go back to the drawing board and figure out whatever's wrong with that. And their workaround for that in NASCAR would be you can just do the Ford GT or something like that to easily just change it up there. So if I'm just guessing, it's got to be just me. Just when I first originally looked at the car, I was like, that's interesting that they got the fenders up like that. I don't know if you want that for side downforce in NASCAR when you're going through a turn. So that always concerned me for NASCAR, but I could be totally wrong. That could have nothing to that. There's a possibility that has nothing to do with it. But it just doesn't look, in my mind, with what I know about aerodynamics, which is very limited compared to somebody that does this for a living. It just didn't look from the eyeball test to be like a sporty design that you would want to have. But like I said, that might not have anything to do with it. I'm just speculating out loud. Let's see. Even though it was a couple weeks ago, Chastain was great in the booth, and it was the first time he has ever. Do you think he has a future in the booth after his racing career? Says Ty Jesus Gibbs. I think Ross can do whatever he puts his mind to, but hopefully that's a long time from now, because I think Ross has a chance to, the way he's pulled in new fans and stuff like that, I think he's got a chance with Carson Hocevar and some others to be a generational driver. Ty Gibbs actually would be another one that could be a generational driver. He's just going to be, Ty Gibbs is going to be that generational driver that a lot of people hate, kind of like a Denny Hamlin or a Kyle Busch, somebody like Joey Logano, somebody like that. Thoughts on the Hall of Fame nominees? Who should get in? Do Rudd and Gant get in? I hope so. But I also hope Harry Hyde gets in as well. And the runner-ups like Johnson and Canals last year. I don't know. But I know a lot of people are pushing for Rudd and Gant, and I'm just hoping that Harry Hyde gets in there because he was the model for the crew chief in Days of Thunder, and he also had just a historic career. But I just really like Days of Thunder, and I want him in the Hall of Fame. Let's see. Someone calls Dave. He's just got crazy amounts of stories too. He's like Smokey Eunuch. He's just got a crazy amount of stories. Someone calls Dave Moody once every 3 to 4 months to say old guys should race, and Dave has to go. We did that and almost killed someone. We did that once and almost killed someone. Says say Kyle. So yeah. Dave Moody remembers. If nobody else remembers, Pepperidge Farm remembers. BB, if you don't want a free F1 race ticket to anywhere in the world. If you want a free F1 race ticket to anywhere in the world and travel, food paid for, which track would you pick? I'd have to say Monaco. Like Monaco would have to be the one, and you know, watch it from a yacht or something. However, the best way to watch it from Monaco would be. That would be, I feel like, the race I need to go to, and I'd need to be there for at least a month beforehand to just really soak up all the culture. So, Bologna Burger live streams from Monaco, if that ever happens, for a solid month. It's like putting a spoiler on a third-gen 4Runner. Otherwise, you'll just be sucking exhaust, says one wise guy. Bones Does says, I remember talking about the old-timers late model race back in the day. All right, poll question. Looking like mullet. So we'll have to figure something else. I'll put it on the list of things I'll think about. I'm not going to promise that I'll cut a mullet into my hair by the time Darlington rolls around, but I will consider it. But 54%, 20% for the Mohawk, 27% saying no, don't cut it. You're too old. Nothing against the Biff, but is anyone really considering Greg for the Hall of Fame? Like, is this for real? He should be considered if you look at some other people's numbers. But he was just he wasn't, he was kind of quiet when he was in the Cup Series. So that's actually going to work against him. Can fender flares hurt the product? Says Chrome Diesel. In my opinion, I think it's hurting. Ford. Monaco is the first race of the day for the triple weekend, for sure. But for once, I'd be okay with missing Charlotte's and the Indy race in that one particular situation. Business in the front, party in the back. We'll have to figure out like a performance metric for the hair to get cut. Monaco is a nice place with good food. Fun time, folks, says Bones. Monaco would be a fun place to go. Can you believe it's been 17 years since Dale Jr. drove Kyle Busch's car at Texas? That is pretty wild. It's amazing how long ago certain things would be. But yeah, Monaco would definitely be a fun place to go, Diane. I think about it all the time. It's definitely one of the IndyCar races. No budget, obviously the budget for that would be insane, but that would definitely be on the list of things to do before you kick the bucket on this planet. All right, looks like we've reached the end of it. I've read the poll question. I will close it after because that is tradition. So I'll see you guys on Sunday before the race. Peace.